Darvish, first pitch of the day is a fastball in for a strike, and we're underway. Let's try to salvage the finale of this series after dropping the first two on the heels of a 7-game winning streak. Nimmo just 4 for 23 on this road trip. Most of the big guns for the Mets are struggling right now. Curveball from Darvish, and he held the swing in time, 1-1. Manny Machado, yeah, it's there. Sun, same place it always is.
That's what I was going to say. It's probably in that same place pretty much all the time here in San Diego.
I mean, it's San Diego. The sun's always out, and the sun never moves a whole lot. Good fastball by Darvish, and it's 1-2 to Nimmo with Vientos and Lindor to follow in the opening inning. Trading deadline now 26 hours away. Who's going? Who's coming? What's going to happen? Everybody's kind of on tenterhooks today. Good thing that tomorrow's a day off. 1-2 coming. And a swing and a miss. He got him with the slider. Darvish fans Nimmo for the first out of the day.
Let's take a look at the Padres defense brought to you by Chevrolet. You've got Martin Maldonado, Gold Glover, behind the plate today, taking the place of Elias Diaz, who has been a big thorn for these Mets the last couple of last couple of games. And then Gavin Sheets in left field today. Bryce Johnson there the last couple of days.
Mark Vientos has been the Mets' hottest hitter on this road trip. He's got an 8-game hitting streak going. 4 for 8 in this series, including a grand slam in the opener on Monday night. Mark's DHing today. 7th time he's hit second this year. That little hesitation that Darvish has in his motion, how much does that affect you as a hitter?
It has an impact, especially when he's got a variation from when he's really going 97 miles an hour or so with his fastball to 70 miles an hour in a curveball. And that jumping at you makes you get off balance.
And this is away and falls behind Vientos 3-0. I mean, he is all over the map. Look at how many different pitches he can throw up there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got variations. The two-seam, the slider, the sweeper. The curveball he can throw anywhere from 69 to 73 miles an hour as well, which is a big off-speed advantage.
Yeah, he's got 2 different curveballs. How many guys have that? He throws a standard curve, and then he throws a knuckle curve, which is significantly faster than the regular curveball.
Which you got to wonder how you call. There must be combinations that you have to put into that pitch com to be able to give him not only the pitch but then location as well.
Well, they've got, I think, 9 different buttons on the pitch com.
Oh, that's about how many pitches he throws.
That covers it. 3-1 to Vientos with Lindor on deck. And Mark swings and misses. A nasty slider from Darvish. He fell behind 3-0. Now he's back to 3-2. Darvish's last start was a disaster in St. Louis. He gave up 8 runs in 3 1/3 innings. 3-2 to Vientos, and a breaking ball hit up the middle, and Vientos has another base hit. So Vientos just keeps on hitting. 9-game hitting streak, and Vientos appears to have broken out of the malaise that he suffered through the first half of the year.
Well, really encouraging at bats, too. There's that slider right there, and he was out in front of it previously. He stays back, and a couple of his base hits yesterday, 2-strike breaking balls that he was able to stay back, concentrate through the middle, and then find some grass out there.
So 1 out and 1 on now, Francisco Lindor. Lindor 2 for 9 in this series after taking an 0 for last night. And we mentioned that most of the Mets' big hitters are struggling right now. Lindor over the last 12 games, just 8 for 55. He's in a funk. Alonso, Soto, who's not playing today, all of them really struggling right now. And changeup misses outside, 1-1. Now the way the Phillies are trying to complete their series with the White Sox today. That game's been delayed more than 2 hours already, and it's supposed to rain all day in Chicago. There's a slow curve from Darvish, and it gets a swinging strike. It's 1-2.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with him. Just changes speeds, changes arm angles, changes rotation. That's the straight over the top, 12-6 that he threw at 73 miles an hour, in contrast to a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
1-2 coming to Lindor. And he popped it up. Left side of the infield. Machado taking charge of it. 2 out.
Can finally see a little bit of frustration. I mean, he does a great job, Francisco Lindor, of keeping his emotions in check and staying positive and doing what he can do on the other side of the ball. But you're starting to see a little frustration when he's missing pitches that he knows he should hit.
Well, here's Alonso, who never comes out of the lineup. 362 consecutive games. Takes a curveball for a strike. But he's clearly banged up right now. Been dealing with a bone bruise on his thumb, and last night he appeared to tweak his knee on a play at second base. Said everything's fine. He's good to go today. But Alonso's numbers have certainly suffered recently. 0 for his last 14, and over a longer stretch, 5 for his last 57. See, his chase rate has ballooned since the All-Star break. And he fights one off on the right side, and it's caught out of the air by Arise. Little jam shot, and Arise able to dive and get it. And that. Being widely reported right now that the Mets have acquired the submarining right-hander Tyler Rogers from the Giants. Another piece for the Mets bullpen. No word yet on what's going back the other way. Rogers is a free agent after this year, but he is extremely nasty with a unique look, throwing from down under. And we saw him in the series just completed in San Francisco. Clay Holmes on the mound for the Mets today, facing Fernando Tatis. Holmes had a very weird outing his last time out against San Francisco. Grounded foul outside third. He only walked 1 and struck out 2, and yet it took him 104 pitches to get through 5 innings.
That is the interesting part. That's a lot of deep counts. That's a lot of foul balls. And we saw this team foul a bunch of pitches off yesterday to get deep on Sean Manaea.
Slow ground ball. Lindor on the charge. And gets Tatis 1 away.
Well, the Genesis defense today for the Mets. We've got Alvarez back behind the plate after Terrence there yesterday. The rest of the infield, as we've been seeing it. Ryan Mauricio doing a good job down in third. And then in center field and in right field, you got Tyrone Taylor in center and Jeff out in right because of Soto's absence today.
Here's Luis Arise. 3 for 7 in this series, raising his career average against the Mets to .420. which among players with at least 60 plate appearances against the Mets is the highest in history, just ahead of Stan Musial. And Arise takes a strike on the outside edge, 1-1. The thing about Holmes and his high pitch count, early in the season, he was striking out more hitters. Now when he gets to 2 strikes, it's been harder for him to put hitters away. Slider hit out to left center field for a base hit for Arise. Cut off by Taylor. And Arise has his 4th hit in the series, a 1-out single.
He is some kind of hitter. You see the breaking ball, the sweeper coming down and in. Not a bad pitch. Place to Clay Holmes probably wanted that pitch, but Arise staying inside the baseball right there, just so short and quick to the ball, and serves it out to left.
So 1 out and 1 on. Here's Manny Machado with a 3-run homer last night. He dumps one into right center for a base hit. Arise will stop at second as Taylor fires it in. So Arise and Machado, who respectively are 4th and 2nd in the National League in base hits, put together back-to-back base hits.
Manny up there right now seeing the ball really, really well. Has been so hot lately, as we talked about. 17 hits now in his last 7+ games. And when he's seeing the ball and attacking early, look out.
That's 17 for 30. That's a .567 average. Here's Jackson Merrill with 2 on. He grounds one on the right side. Beatty's going to have to go to first with it. Gets the out there as the runners move up to 2nd and 3rd. So the Padres attacking early. They're a team that rarely swings at the first pitch. One of the lowest first pitch swing percentages in baseball, but the last 2 hitters, Machado and Merrill, both put in the first pitch into play.
And yesterday we saw a lot of aggressiveness early in the count as well. So maybe they're just trying to take advantage of a guy like Holmes, who once he gets ahead of you, has some more weapons to put you away, but they're attacking early right now.
So a big at bat early for Holmes against Xander Bogaerts, who's DHing today. Bogaerts has been hot, as most of these Padre hitters have been. 3 for 9 in this series. Arise at 3rd, Machado at 2nd with 2 down. And he throws a sinker at his feet for ball 1. Bogaerts over the last 34 games hitting .346 with a .939 OPS, on base plus slugging. And that fastball rides inside, and it's 2-0. Mets held the Giants without a hit, 0 for 23 with runners in scoring position in that series. The Padres have gone 10 for 24 with runners in scoring position in this series. And Sweeper's in for a strike, and it's 2-1. Well, that's the last 4 games for the Padres, and they've won all 4 of them, hitting .331 as a team, averaging 6.5 runs per game. They scored 7 in each of the first 2 games in this series. And Bogaerts jumps away from a sinker. 3-1. Jake Cronenworth, the on-deck batter.
Those numbers, I was going to say, are quite the contrast from what they've done on the season. They're not a team in the top, even the upper echelon in runs scored or home runs.
Right, they're 13th out of 15 teams in the National League in runs scored, even with this latest flurry. Now Holmes behind in the count, 3-1. Bogaerts takes ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Holmes wanted to keep everything in on Bogaerts in that at bat.
He did.
He's been great with runners in scoring position this year, but not as good lately. Jake Cronenworth will bat with the bases loaded. Cronenworth is 2 for 8 in this series. He's hitting 5 straight games. Bases loaded, 2 down, first inning. And Cronenworth takes a knee-high fastball for a strike. Holmes is throwing hard. 96 miles an hour. Average fastball velocity with his sinker this year has been about 93.5. And he throws that one by Cronenworth with the changeup, and it's 0-2.
That's a nice split change that he throws, and they got good movement on it. He's kind of gone in and out of consistency with that pitch. When he's got it and he's able to land it, it's a really effective pitch for him against the left-handed batters.
Oh-2 coming. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Got him with the changeup. So Holmes works his way out of trouble in the opening inning and strands 3. Turn that the Mets are sending to the Giants for Tyler Rogers, and it seems like a hefty package for a rental reliever. According to multiple reports, the Mets will be sending Jose Butto, prospect center fielder Drew Gilbert, and pitcher Blade Tidwell, who pitched earlier this year for the Mets, all going to San Francisco for Tyler Rogers. Rogers will help, but that's a lot to give up. Fly ball hit to left center field. Merrill and Sheets will take charge. One away.
You know, the Butto piece to that is the one that's interesting because you're giving up a reliever that has been a relatively reliable reliever for this Mets bullpen, and they're trying to get bullpen help. So, I mean, Trevor Rogers is quite the reliever. He's got great stuff and interesting angles, and he's going to be a guy, but he is a guy that is at some point a rental right now unless they have something predetermined, but that's a lot to give up, I think.
Here's Francisco Alvarez. Alvarez in 6 games since coming back from the minors, hitting .316 with an 1142 OPS. Well, if he's been traded, nobody's told him yet. Alvarez swings over the slider from Darvish, and it's 0-2. Butto sitting next to Mets bullpen coach Jose Rosado. Perhaps he's heard and just waiting. Usually you're on hug watch at this time of year. You can see patting his legs.
Yeah, he's giving him some love out there.
But that's, that's the human side of the business of the trading deadline. You got a guy who has spent his entire career in this organization, and now looks like he's moving on. And Alvarez chases the breaking ball, and Darvish has his second strikeout, 2 out. Of course, none of this is official. And I go back 10 years, it's just a few days after the Wilmer Flores trade that wasn't, and all the tears. So you never know.
I get it. Sometimes a guy like that just feels lost having to go to a new organization. But it's also, there is something about, okay, now what am I going to do? What's the next step? How am I going to get there? What am I going to feel like with this new team? How's the city? Where am I going to live? It's all the other things besides what I can do on a baseball field.
Right. I mean, from a baseball standpoint, it'll provide a fresh opportunity, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's interesting that Butto, if he is being dealt, gets dealt right after the Mets send Huáscar Brazoban down to the minors to stretch out to be a multiple inning reliever, which is a role that Butto has filled for the last couple of years.
You're right, and you can see that they like what they've seen out of Rico Garcia so far since he's been here, and he can give you multiple innings, but it is interesting.
What will also be interesting if Butto goes to San Francisco is whether they try to stretch him out as a starting pitcher, because obviously he's been a starter in the past, and the Giants have a huge need for starting pitching. Here's the other piece, because this sometimes happens. As Mauricio strikes out, if Butto is traded, he could fly back on the charter with the Mets, because the Giants are in New York this weekend. No score in the second.
In a Jurassic
and Gilbert. Here's Jose Iglesias on a big night last night against his old team. 2 for 4 in this series. Getting a chance to play shortstop today. Grounded to third, grounded by Mauricio, and the throw across the diamond in time, one away. Well, again, the trade is not official. It won't be until all the medicals have been exchanged, but those are the career numbers for Tyler Rogers, who's 34 years old and will be a free agent after this season. He's having a fantastic year for the Giants. Ironically, his brother Taylor has also been traded today from the Reds to the Pirates in the deal that sent Ke'Bryan Hayes to Cincinnati. It's an interesting move. The Pirates have been trying to deal Hayes for a couple of years since they signed him to a long-term contract, and his offense has never really come around. He's an elite defensive player, but it gives the Reds a great defender at third base. And Taylor Rogers went to Pittsburgh in that deal. Gavin Sheets, the batter, and he takes well up high. 2 balls and a strike.
The Rogers parents are going to have to get some new uniforms now. They've got, I wonder if that's ever been done before, having brothers traded on the same day.
Well, there goes Buteau. So he has apparently said his goodbyes in the bullpen, and you can see he's pretty emotional as he walks off and will get himself mentally adjusted to the fact that it looks like he's going to be a San Francisco Giant. 2-2 to Sheets, who's 0 for 3 in this series. DH the first game, and he takes inside 3-2.
I do think it's interesting as well what you said, that because it seems like a large package to give up, you've still got to figure out if you can keep Rogers long term. Right now, as a rental, it seems especially large. Good
back foot sweeper there by Holmes to strike out Sheets, his second strikeout. Well, it's kind of like when the Mets traded for Francisco Lindor and they gave up, a terrific player in Andres Jimenez and a good piece in Ahmed Rosario. And you said at the time, if they can sign him long term, it's a great deal.
Sense, right.
If not, who knows? There's Martin Maldonado. But it's a little different in this case. One of them, you're talking about a relief pitcher, and 2, you're talking about a guy who's 34. So I don't know whether the Mets would have interest in signing Rogers long term or whether there's any kind of understanding there. But as a rental, you'd have to say it was a big package. Ball and a strike to Maldonado, making his first start in the series. Got the elderly battery for the Padres today. 38-year-old pitcher Darvish, 38-year-old catcher Maldonado. He hits one toward the hole, past a diving Lindor. And Maldonado has a 2-out hit.
Well, that catcher spot for the San Diego Padres last couple of days, doesn't matter who they put in. They're getting base hits. Luis Diaz, couple of hits and RBIs game 1. A big double with a couple RBIs yesterday. And now Maldonado following suit, leading off with a single.
So now Fernando Tatis, who grounded out to short his first time up, and takes a curveball inside. Ball 1. And Tatis takes inside 2-0. Tatis, over his last 45 games, has a .412 on base percentage. He's up in the top 10 of the league in walks now. Top 5 in runs scored. He's having a dynamic year. Fouls off the sweeper, 2-1. And we've seen what he can do defensively in this series. Already in the first 2 games, he's gone over the fence, in and toward the line, and in the gap to make 3 terrific plays. And Tatis has to vacate. I think that ball clipped him on the hand. It was headed toward his chin. And it got him on that left hand. Well, that could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, you never like to see anything up around the face at all. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is a guy that you have to be able to try to establish inside. That ball just got some extra run from Clay. Trying to go inside to establish that inner part of the plate is important against Tatis, but clip that pinky.
Athletic trainer trying to make sure that Tatis is okay. Immediately had to make a fist. That ball was headed right toward his chin.
And it looked like it grazed off the top. Probably the best thing for him is his hand was loose coming off the bat, releasing the bat. So when it hit off the top, it didn't have the bat underneath it to create that impact. It's like when you're catching, the catching coaches would tell you always leave your bare hand loose. Never put it in a clenched fist in case you get hit by a foul ball. It'll graze. It'll hurt. It's not going to not hurt, but less likely to break something.
By the same token, if you're driving and you hit a deer, if you see the deer and tense up, you're more likely to be hurt than if you don't see the deer and you're
exactly.
You're
it's a matter of that your body just kind of reacts when it's not overly tense. It's the same situation.
And I'm talking from personal experience. I was driving.
So were you tense, or were you?
I was driving home from Syracuse after a basketball game. I was on a 2-lane road. Never saw the deer, and it totaled my car, and I was perfectly fine.
It's unbelievable what the deer can do to a car, and you hate to say that because obviously the car has done some damage to the deer.
Well,
but did you say you were relaxed and you were okay?
Yeah, the deer definitely got the worst of it. As Luis arrives with 2 men on. It's the 8th batter Holmes has hit this year. So he had traffic in the first inning, stranded 3. Now he's going to try and work around a couple of base runners in the second. Rise at a base hit to left center his first time up. And that skips away, but not far, and Alvarez pouncing right on it to keep the runners where they are.
I've still been a little bit surprised, even with the home run that Arise hit a couple of days ago, that the outfield plays him as deep as they do. He's a guy that usually dumps balls in front of the outfielders, especially with the runner on second, who's not a great runner, but you'd think they'd cheat in a little bit to cut off some of those bloop hits.
Yeah, especially Taylor in center field. I mean, he's not playing deep, but he's playing deeper than you'd think. And now Holmes behind 3-0 with Machado looming on deck, and he's buying himself some trouble here in the second after skipping by it in the first. Rice does not draw a lot of walks. He did draw one last night. And there's a strike, 3-1. But then again, he's only struck out 12 times this year.
Puts the ball in play.
More walks than strikeouts. Right down the middle, 3-2. Usually Juan Soto has more walks than strikeouts, but not this year. You know who does? Jeff McNeil. Jeff started the day with 33 walks, 27 strikeouts. So now the runners will get a head start. Maldonado at second, who could use one. Tatis at first, who doesn't need much. 3-2 to Arise. And it's too high, ball 4, and the bases are loaded for the second straight inning. Holmes went through a spate of starts where he was walking a ton of hitters. Of late, that has not been a problem. He had walked only 5 batters in his last 4 starts. But now he's walked 2 and hit a batter in the first 2 innings today. Manny Machado put the game away with a 3-run homer last night.
Sat on that changeup, and Davinsky leaked back out over the middle of the plate. He was up to the task.
Hitter with the bases loaded with 13 grand slams. All of this happening with 2 out and nobody on. Maldonado singled, Tatis hit by a pitch, Arise walked, and now Machado with the bases loaded. And a first pitch sweeper in for a strike, 0-1. So Holmes getting reacquainted with the strike zone. And getting ahead on Machado, who started the day hitting .301, third in the National League. And that's drilled into left field for a base hit. In to score is Maldonado. Tatis right behind him. Heading for third is Arise. Manny Machado drives in a pair, and it's 2-0 San Diego. RBIs number 70 and 71 for Machado, who's just blazing hot right now.
When this guy's hot, he's tough to get out. You see that ball sinking. Two-seamer out over the plate, comes right back into his barrel. You got to either have that down and away against Manny or in off the plate. Too much plate. Manny is hot right now.
18 for his last 31. That's a .581 clip for Machado. And Holmes, who was able to get out of 2-out bases loaded trouble in the first inning, not so fortunate in the second. Here's Jackson Merrill, first and third, 2 out. And he takes up and in for ball one with a cutter. Merrill grounded out to second base on the first pitch he saw in the opening inning. Arise at third, Machado at first. And the sweeper finds the outside edge. 1-1. Well, Jose Butto is back in the bullpen. Trade not official yet. There's certainly no worry about him being in tears on the field like Wilmer, because Butto wasn't going to pitch today anyway after a long outing last night. Delayed steal, and Machado walks into second base. Haven't seen that much this year.
That was interesting. Alvarez blocked this ball, but it seemed like he didn't even have to block it. He just got fooled by him. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was not a dirt ball. That was strictly a delayed steal. Now Jackson Merrill hits one to left center, but Taylor ranges over and gets it to end the inning. Machado's 2-run hit puts the Padres up 2-0. Kurtz in there because Nick Kurtz has 25 extra base hits in July, which ties the rookie record for most extra base hits in a calendar month. And he has a chance to break it today. Brett Beatty leading off in the third. Rudy York with the Detroit Tigers in August of 1937.
Wow.
Had 25 extra base hits, and Nick Kurtz of the Don't Call Us West Sacramento A's has tied that record. Of course, if you get 5 extra base hits in one game, it makes it a lot easier.
That absolutely helps. But still, to get 20 more.
Oh, we got a Rudy York card. Tommy, you're the best. Look at that.
That's
That
a nice
just
career
outstanding.
for Rudy York.
6 years of 100 RBIs. Little play. Beatty flies one foul down the left field line. And that'll go out of play. Is Brett holding his hands a little higher and closer to his head than he was before?
Yes, he is, and he's keeping the hands inside, trying. And I talked a little bit about the use of his left hand. He's a right-hand dominant person hitting from the left side, so he had a tendency to pull the bat through the zone, trying to get that left hand to drive the barrel through the zone a little quicker.
Rolls one over to the right side. A rise with the flip. And Darvish covers one away. By the way, I have an update on the Acuna injury. They're saying now it is not an Achilles. It's a calf strain, which I guess is better, but calf strains are hard to come back from, too.
Yeah, because Achilles is usually either very bad news or a little bit easier to come back from. If it's not the very bad news, calves can linger for a while. As I've heard before from Keith Hernandez. And on occasion,
ice
for
24 hours. That's what he learned from Ron Hunt.
Straight till it freezes your calf off, or on and off for 24 hours?
You're going to have to get the details from 17. Here's Tyrone Taylor trying to fight his way out of a dreadful slump. His slump is so bad right now that when Soto got hurt last night, Taylor came in to replace him defensively, but then when the Mets had a scoring opportunity, without Taylor having taken an at-bat, Carlos Mendoza sent up starting Marte to bat for him, and Marte drove in what proved to be the only Mets run last night. He flares this one on the right side, and Cronenworth dives, and he makes another brilliant play. Cronenworth has been all over the place in this series.
And I'm telling you what, sometimes you just feel like you've got no chance up there. Like there's, a pitcher throwing nothing but perfect pitches and 15 guys with gloves. That's what it must feel like for Tyrone right now. He's like, just flare. Come on, get away from it. Let it fall. No, not quite. When it's not going well, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Great play by Cronenworth.
If you check out the defensive metrics, they will tell you that Jake Cronenworth is not having a good defensive year. He has made 3 or 4 spectacular plays to rob the Mets of hits in this series. There's Brandon Nimmo with 2 out. And Darvish breaks off the delivery, and that'll be a pitch clock violation. I don't know if he got a spike caught.
Looks like in his hesitation, he got a little out of balance, maybe hit the spike. Sides? Okay, redo it.
So it's 1-0 to Nimmo, who struck out his first time up, and a fastball in for a strike. The Cubs salvaged the finale of their series with the Brewers. Got home runs from Michael Busch and Ian Happ to beat Milwaukee 10-3. So that leaves the Brewers 1 game ahead of the Cubs in the NL Central. Mets will be in Milwaukee on their next road trip, and the ability of the Brewers to pick up spare parts and get incredible results from them continues. They got Andrew Vaughn, who was in the minor leagues with the White Sox. Andrew Vaughn, in his first 15 games for the Brewers, 21 RBIs.
Wow.
Nobody's done that in their first 15 games for a team since Joe Rudy in 1977 with the Angels. Nemo strikes out for the second time. That's 4 Ks for Darvish over the first 3 innings. 2-0 Padres. Jose Butto did some great work for the Mets the last couple of years, and he will certainly be missed. No swing by Bogarts, 2 balls and a strike.
As we talked about earlier, there's much more of a human element about that. I have been traded a couple times, once right at the deadline, but I was already at home. It was a little different feeling than being there with your teammates and being told.
Ground ball to short. It comes up for Lindor, and he throws out Bogarts one away. But the other piece is that when you're traded for the first time, I mean, Butto joined the Mets organization in 2017, so this is his 9th year in the Mets organization. It's all that he's known.
Yeah.
And now he gets dealt for the first time from everything that he knows.
And you're right. I mean, the first time I was with the Cardinals from 1986 to 1995, where I got traded to the Cubs, and that was something that came to a sour end.
Beatty on the backhand throws out Cronenworth for the second out.
That was, following sort of a dispute with Cardinal ownership after the strike. I was kind of expecting that they were going to try to move me, so it wasn't a huge surprise like it could be for a guy like Butto. But it is, the first time was different. Okay, how am I going to fit in with this clubhouse? Where am I going to live? All the things that you are so uncertain about, and you've got to figure those things out on your own in a very short amount of time.
Holmes trying for a quick inning. He got the first 2 batters out in the second before things got hairy for him. Gave up a couple of runs. Now he falls behind Iglesias 2-0. Iglesias grounded out to Mauricio at third his first time up, and takes a sweeper for a strike, 2-1. He chases that sweeper, and it's 2-2.
That was a good one right there. Good downward depth. Sometimes Clay just has so much natural movement on his sinker that he goes to the sweeper to command better.
That's hit to shortstop. One hop to Lindor. Low throw, and Alonso does not snare it. And Iglesias is safe at first. He's upset with himself. He is as good a picker of the baseball on low throws as there is in the game.
He is, and he can do it from all different kinds of athletic positions. Lindor took his time a little bit, then realized that Jose was trying to get down the line, rushed to throw a tiny bit, it just sails. Pete picks that usually 10 out of 10 times, but just dropped.
So it's an E6. Lindor had a bunch of errors early this season. Feels like it's been a long time since he's had one.
Yeah, he's been solid. I mean, he is so solid, and usually on the routine plays, it's automatic.
There's Gavin Sheets, who struck out his first time up, and he swings over a changeup, and it's 0-2. Might also add that on the other side of this deal, Tyler Rogers was drafted by the Giants in 2013. So he spent 13 years in that Giants organization, and now he's been traded for the first time. Funny thing, the veteran of getting traded in the deal is Drew Gilbert, who the Mets got from Houston in the Justin Verlander trade a couple of years ago. Holmes struck Sheets out his first time up with a changeup, one of his 2 strikeouts today. And Sheets unloads one to deep right center. Back goes McNeil, takes a look, and it's out of here. Gavin Sheets with his 15th home run of the year. And for the second straight inning, the Padres are able to score after 2 out and nobody on. Throwing error by Lindor prolonging the inning, and Sheets makes Holmes pay with a 2-run homer.
He sure did, and that ball almost 109 miles an hour off the bat, but Sheets sat back on that with 2 strikes like he felt it was coming or knew it was coming. That's a sweeper that he wanted down and in, or back door at least, and it just came right down over the middle of the plate, and Sheets did not miss it.
So the Mets, who dropped the first 2 games of this series, now find themselves in an early 4-0 hole. Martin Maldonado had a base hit his first time up, and he swings and misses at a sweeper, 0-2. So Lindor had an error against the Angels last week, but before that, his previous error was May 16th. So he'd had only one in the last 2.5 months before that throwing error. Off the end of the bat, shallow center. Out goes Beatty, and he won't get there. And it drops for a base hit from Maldonado, and he's 2 for 2. Jeremy Hefner will try and give Holmes a breather. Things not going nicely for play this afternoon.
No, another good pitch that just ends up being a ball that he can get just enough of off the end of the bat and drop it in. And sometimes it just feels like the day goes that way for you, and you look to find a way to flip the switch, turn that momentum back around.
Holmes goes away with a cutter, ball 1. Well, that's a telling number right there. Mets have been short with their starters other than David Peterson. That's line to center, coming on Taylor, but he'll have to play that on the hop. And the inning continues. Third consecutive two-out hit after the error. And the Padres have two men on for a rise.
Well, this star-studded Padres offense, who was not driving a bunch of runs in, as we talked about earlier on in this season, getting the job done and just keep putting pressure on this Mets. Another ball that Clay Holmes just doesn't get to where he wants it with the two-seamer, and ends up being a base hit.
Let's get the bullpen going. Luis Arias has singled and walked already in this game, and he takes a sweeper for a strike. Arias now has a 13-game hitting streak with his first inning single today. Hitting right at 400 during the streak. He fouls off that changeup, and it's 0-2.
That's a pretty good one right there. Down and in. A little sink on that kick change.
Two coming. He slaps one foul. Interesting to see Reed Garrett up in the Mets bullpen. I assume that would be just to try and get through the inning if Holmes can't finish this inning.
Yeah, that seems early for Reed right now. Obviously, Puto had pitched last night, so it doesn't really matter about the trade issue with him.
Figure Rico Garcia to be your long man. Well, that's a testament to Arias' contact rate. Best contact hitter in baseball, and doesn't strike out, so puts the ball in play and gets more hits. And he slaps that one to the left side. Mauricio spins around and throws him out. Beautiful play by Mauricio to rob Arias and get Holmes through the inning.
Bullpen coach went over, picked it up, had a brief conversation, and then went over to Budo, said a few words. Budo got up and walked over to the edge of the bench where his good friend Reed Garrett was sitting, and the two just sat next to each other for about 15 seconds with their arms around each other, had a few words, and then Budo got his stuff, and at the end of that half inning, came out and, as you saw, walked back towards the Mets dugout. Now, what's interesting is that we obviously showed shots before the top of the third where Budo had to be consoled. And, you know, this was speculating, but it also is just another indication of how the game has changed in the social media age. That Mets bullpen is right by a bunch of fans in the outfield. You don't know, as Vientos strikes out, if any of the fans saw it on social media and said something, or if Budo and the Mets had an indication prior to the game that he may indeed get traded. But there were a couple innings where Budo was just kind of sitting there in silence, waiting for the news to be official.
Right, go back to the Wilmer Flores deal 10 years ago. At the time, we didn't understand the impact of social media on players with deals that were not yet official. I think we have a much better understanding of it now, 10 years down the road. And there's not much you can do about it, especially when stuff is happening during a game and all the writers are doing their due diligence and reporting what they find out. But it doesn't make it any easier for the individuals involved. That's where the fans are, in proximity to the bullpen, so certainly plenty of interaction possible. And that's how Wilmer found out, from fans, at a time when Terry Collins had no idea. Swing and a miss. Difference was Wilmer was in the game. Budo was sitting in the bullpen.
Yeah. You know what was also pretty interesting is right before that half inning, most of the guys who are in the bullpen walked out there. A lot of them, take a couple innings in the dugout or the clubhouse before they head out to the bullpen. And when they went out into the bullpen, you have to assume that they knew what was going on, but nobody said a word to Budo. They kind of just let him be for a little bit until, again, that official word was given, and at that point, they officially said their goodbyes.
1-2 to Lindor, who popped up his first time up. And Darvish runs a fastball inside, 2-2. Well, it seems like that will play out all across Major League Baseball today and for the few teams that are playing tomorrow before the trading deadline at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Curveball hit in the air to right center field. Merrill back in the gap, and he gets there to make the catch. 2 out. So Darvish, after giving up a single to Vientos in the first, has retired 10 in a row. Mets have always had trouble with Darvish, but remember, this is a Yu Darvish who came into the game through 4 starts with an ERA over 9, and who gave up 8 runs against the Cardinals in his last start. Here's Alonso, who had a flare to the first baseman his first time up.
Well, he's been certainly keeping them off balance here today, using a lot of that curveball. Slider, he spins, as we talked about, maybe upwards of 9 different pitches, but he's been using them in sequences to keeping this Mets offense off balance.
Alonso flies one into shallow right center. Should be easy for Merrill. And he puts it away to retire the side. 11 in a row retired by Darvish. 4-0. You've got your same game parlay. You're all over the place today.
Well, you know what? I'm actually happy about it because, as you know, Gary, the last couple of days we've been working out together. This is an early day. I needed to get some cardio in, my steps in. I felt a little sluggish, so I'm roaming all over the place.
Did you find some shade there? Because we worry about you in the sun, Steve.
Gary, I don't know if you noticed as Machado grounds out, but I talked about what I witnessed in the top of the third inning, and I waited until the top of the fourth. Now, the reason was because every time I walked around the park to try and find shade to do that report in, the microphone just didn't work, so I had to come all the way. This was last resort, coming into the sun. You know me.
They haven't invented an SPF high enough for Steve.
Well, you know, I said to the audio guys, we have to find a solution, because if I'm going to sit here the whole game, that means I'm going to have to lather up the sunscreen. Then I'm going to have to sit on a cross-country flight lathered in sunscreen, and then at like 3 a.m. take a shower. That's not going to work for me.
Steve?
Yeah?
Between the end of the game and the flight, couldn't you just wash off the sunscreen?
Where? Where do we have the facilities to do that?
Jackson Merrill fouls off a changeup from Holmes, and it's 1-2.
Steve, it is only 75.
Oh, there you go.
It just happens to be...
I'm good, guys.
There you go.
75, sunny, low humidity. I don't think you need to pit out in this. It's not like it's 100 with 90% humidity today.
Todd, you sat next to me during the Open. Do you understand the difference in skin tone?
There is a difference. I was also wearing a tie and a coat, and they asked me to take the coat off just so I didn't outshine you on the broadcast, not because of it being sunny.
Somewhere there's a chemical engineer trying to formulate SPF 1000 specifically for Steve Gelbs.
It's called the full body armor.
I mean,
that doesn't look like much of a difference right there. Steve, you look like you've got nice little golden tan right there. You're looking pretty good.
You know, for people that don't know the TV industry, there's something called white balancing, where the cameras take something that's pure white and they're able to balance all the colors by just taking a quick shot of that before everything begins. They do that off of my skin 90% of the time.
I thought you were just using bronzer in the Open. Merrill goes down on strikes, and that's the third strikeout for Holmes, 2 out in the fourth. Well, this is where Holmes has gotten in trouble each of the last 2 innings. He's retired the first 2 hitters. He did it in the second, and then gave up a hit batsman, a walk, and a 2-run single. Then in the third, an error, a 2-run homer, a couple of hits after 2 out and nobody on. See if he can seal the deal here in the fourth. Bogaerts has walked and grounded out 0 for 1. And he hits a shot toward the hole, and once again, Holmes gives up a 2-out hit. It's uncanny. And it's 8 hits today for the Padres. They had 14 in the first game of the series and 9 last night. Jake Cronenworth, who struck out and grounded out. Bogaerts at first, 16 steals this year. He's only been caught once. Holmes is very good at controlling the running game, even though he does not have a good pickoff move. He's very quick to the plate. Reed Garrett is up again in case Holmes has difficulty getting out of the inning. Let's just try to keep this game in view. Inside to throw to first, and just back is Bogaerts. Did not slide.
Nice try by Alvarez going behind right there, although Looks like Cronenworth is headed to first base.
And
he must have been hit
Carlos
by that
Mendoza
pitch.
is taking Holmes out of the game. So Cronenworth was hit. So 2 men on. The second batter Holmes is hit just on the elbow guard. And Reed Garrett will come in and try and finish off this inning. So a very rough outing for Holmes. He takes his exit in the fourth. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. Shop NissanUSA.com.
Trying to let this game not get out of hand. He's had trouble. Clay was having trouble with two outs previous innings, trying to get this one put to bed.
That broken bat grounder right back to Garrett. And he gets Iglesias at first base. So Garrett gets the job done and keeps it at a 4-0 game as we go to the fifth. His first time up. Jeff is now 2 for 18 in his career against Darvish. Darvish 5-1 lifetime against the Mets, plus his victory in Game 1 of the Wild Card Series 3 years ago. 7 innings allowed just 1 run in that game. And this one's skied to center field. Merrill circles in under it. 1 out. So you asked the question, Todd, with Tyler Rogers coming to the Mets and Taylor Rogers being traded from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh, have brothers ever been traded on the same day? And Dave Freed has gone to the record books and he's found 4 instances,
wow,
4 other instances of brothers being traded on the same day. There's Francisco Alvarez, who struck out his first time up. First time happened back in 1886 when Bill and Dick Conway got traded the same day.
Okay.
1937, Rick and Wes Ferrell got traded the same day. Rick is a Hall of Famer, and Wes Ferrell has more home runs than any pitcher in history. So those are pretty big names. Check swing foul, and it's 0-2. 1949, Hank and Ed Sauer got traded the same day. Hank Sauer was a terrific hitter. And in 1970, Hal and Danny Breeden got traded on the same day, but that wasn't during the season. That was in November.
Okay.
So there's your list.
So it's been a while.
And now the Taylor twins join the... I bet they're the first twins to be traded the same day. Swing and a miss, and Alvarez is down on strikes. That's 6 now for Darvish, who is, as Bob Murphy used to say, is wearing the hitters on his watch chain.
He sure is. He is. He keeps these guys off balance. He's got everything working. 93, 94, he's getting up there a little bit with some movement, but he's spotting it and then uses that slow curveball, the sweeper, the slider, the cutter, the splitter, all effectively to stay off balance, keep him off balance.
Ronnie Mauricio struck out his first time up. Extra long hesitation by Darvish, and Mauricio lines a base hit into right center field. Over comes Tatis to cut it off, and Mauricio stops at first base with the Mets' second hit of the day after Darvish had retired 13 in a row.
So the last question that I have on the always as we watch Ronnie right there, we're ready for that first pitch even after the hesitation. A cutter that he gets the barrel out to. Well, he's taking nice at bats. The last question on the brother. Any of them ever teammates that were traded at that? I wonder if any of these, I mean, they go back from 1970 and further back, but if they were ever teammates traded at the same time to the same other team.
Interesting question. I do know this. Before this season, the last 2 years, Tyler and Taylor Rogers were teammates with the Giants.
Right.
Before Taylor went to Cincinnati. Brett Beatty grounded out to first base his first time up. Darvish calling his own pitch there, poking at his pitch count. Probably easier for him to choose than the catcher with so many different weapons to go to.
It would certainly make sense if he were, and you see all the pitches that he's been using today in percentages. That just tells you it's a tough at bat if he's landing all those.
He might have more if you just didn't have room on the bug.
He makes them up.
2 and 1.
Sometimes he's got a button that just says, hey, just be ready back there. I'm going to invent a pitch.
Beatty trying to snap an 0 for 12 stretch. 0 for 7 in this series. And a curveball pulled, and Arise is there to grab it, and that retires the side. I think Arise surprised himself that he was able to pick that ball up. San Diego, having lost the first 2 games of the series and down 4-0 in the 5th inning today. The Mets last got swept in San Diego in 2008, and it was a particularly ignominious series because of the way that they lost the 3 games. The first game, the Padres won on a walk-off hit by pitch.
Oh, those are fun.
The second game, Scott Hairston, who would later play for the Mets, hit a walk-off home run. And in the third game, Tony Clark, who also played for the Mets at one point, hit a home run off Billy Wagner in the 8th inning when the Mets were in position to win. And then a week later, Willie Randolph got fired.
Oh.
Those are the series that will get you fired.
Those are the kinds, yeah. 3 late inning, have a chance to win, don't come out with a victory. Those are tough ones.
I mean, Willie didn't hit a batter with the bases loaded.
He did not.
Willie didn't give up late home runs. But you can't fire the players. Backdoor slider missed. That's ball 4 to Sheets. SNY Play Ball presented by Toyota is back, looking to support local youth football leagues. If you know a league in need. A leadoff base runner. First time today. Most of their damage has come with 2 outs. There goes Sheets. The pitch inside, and I think it was a foul ball. It hit Alvarez, and I think the home plate umpire called that a foul ball. He was very unclear, but it does appear that Sheets is going back to first base. Now the attention turns to Alvarez, who got clipped by that foul ball on the side of the head.
Now, Sheets was running on the pitch. Alvarez, coming out to throw, was turning his body to get himself in a position to throw to second base. And as he does, the foul ball hits him on the side of the ear right there. He was coming out to throw. I mean, we've seen so many different occasions this year. Usually Terren's back there getting beat up by foul balls, but these unusual foul balls, and it's a good thing he had that hockey mask on.
I was going to say, if he had been wearing a conventional mask, that probably would have hit him right in the ear.
In the ear, yeah. It could have been a lot worse. The hockey, I mean, it's still going to ring your bell a little bit, but without that hockey mask, there's no protection on that ear, and if your head's turning, as it was starting to turn, to be able to make that throw to second base could have been quite a bit worse.
Brian Baca, the assistant athletic trainer, out to go through all the protocols with Alvarez. And Francisco smiles, and looks like he's staying put.
It looked like the way Sheets took off there, it might have been a hit and run. And Maldonado, I think, was expecting to swing on that ball, was up and in. That's why he ended up fouling it. But Sheets was looking in to home plate the whole way as he was running, which usually indicates possible hit and run.
Alvarez takes one warm-up toss, says he's good to go. He and Maldonado exchange pleasantries. After all, Maldonado knows about getting whacked in his job as a catcher. Maldonado's already 2 for 2 in this game. Came into the game hitting 196. The Padres have had their catcher batting 9th in all 3 games, and between Diaz and Maldonado, they've gone 5 for 10. Diaz had the game-winning hit in the first game, drove in a couple of runs last night. Sheets takes off. The pitch is low, and Alvarez can't handle it cleanly, and Sheets steals the base, just his 2nd of the year. That was Diaz's walk-off hit on Monday night.
A big double yesterday as well.
Maldonado fouls one off his foot. A lot of pain coming out of this at bat. Well, the Padres are only 4 games behind the Dodgers, who have not been able to pull away. The Giants look like they're in sell mode now, having lost 11 of their last 13. Guess we'll see the Giants again this weekend. Padres are sitting in the final wild card spot, now 3 games clear of Cincinnati going into play today. They were only a game in front when this series began, but the Reds have lost the last 2 days to the Dodgers. So while the Padres have not gained ground on the Dodgers the last 2 days, they have open space in front of the Reds. 2-2 now to Maldonado. And by the way, when Sheets ran just now, he was looking back all the way. That was certainly a hit and run. But the pitch was in the dirt, and Maldonado didn't bother swinging at it.
Yep, held up. Had to rely on trying to get the pick and the throw.
I mean, what's the rule of thumb there? I mean, we don't see hit and run plays much anymore. If you're the hitter, what's your responsibility?
Responsibility is to make sure that you try to put the ball in play, put it in play on the ground. I've even thrown my bat on a hit and run play before. But if it's in the dirt, it's a tough pick for the catcher. Sometimes you can decide to let it go.
The Mets had a player named Tim Foley back in the day.
Sure.
And Foley, and this was in a day when teams pitched out regularly, and I saw him on more than one occasion throw his bat at a pitch out and get a base hit on a hit and run play.
I did that once too, and it was a former teammate of mine, Aaron Seeley, who I was teammates with the Texas Rangers, and I was with the Yankees, and I had homered my first at bat and then threw the bat at the ball and got a base hit the next one. He was not happy with me.
That's on the outside corner, and Maldonado is called out on strikes. That's the first out of the inning. Aaron Seeley wound up pitching for the Mets.
He's a great guy.
Yep.
Competitive guy. Big overhead curveball.
There was a point in time, I'm trying to remember what year it was, when Seeley was with the Mets, and all of the Met players decided to shave their heads as a note of solidarity. And for some guys, it was traumatic. But Aaron was, I think, the only player who did not shave his head because he had a good excuse. He and his family were due for family portraits the upcoming week. And so they gave him a hall pass.
Did he get the hall pass extended after the family photos, or that seemed like a perfect opportunity for the whole team to get involved for the shaving?
I think he might have gotten traded after that. I'm not sure.
Maybe he requested a trade before the head shaving.
I mean, I remember Sean Green was with the team at the time, and really the shaving of the head did Sean no favors. And Sean had a beautiful head of hair before the shaving incident.
And still does. Good for Sean. I see him every once in a while out in Orange County at the golf course.
Sean's name came up the other day when Nick Kurtz had that big game because it was Sean's record that he tied with 19 total bases in a game. Tatis has been hit by a pitch and singled, 1 for 2. Sheets at second and 1 out. And a swing and a miss, and Garrett's got back-to-back strikeouts. Luis Tatis with a fastball, and they're 2 out.
It's a nice job of pitching by Garrett right there. Stood him up with the fastball earlier than the sweeper, and then that fastball on the outside part of the plate. Good job of a pitcher setting up a hitter to get the out on the pitch that he wanted to get the out on. Nice job.
So now Luis Arraez, single, a walk, and then was robbed of a hit his last time up by Mauricio. And a nice sit spin on a ball to his left. There have been several times in this series where Rise has taken the first pitch all the way with no intention of swinging. Rolls this one out to Beatty, and so Garrett gets around the leadoff walk, sends us to the 6th. The Mets down 4-0. Tyrone Taylor skies one on the left side, and Machado into foul ground. One pitch and one retired for Darvish, who's just been rolling through the first 5+ innings. Randy Jones became a Met toward the end of his career. Blake Snell's with the Dodgers now, and it looks like he's coming back from injury to pitch this weekend for L.A. Dodgers starting to get a little healthier with their pitchers. Francisco Alvarez, after getting dinged on the side of the head, going down the tunnel. See if he's able to stay in the game. Brandon Nimmo's been up twice, struck out both times against Darvish, and takes his first sinker outside for ball 1. It's a matter of just 2 singles. Vientos in the first, Mauricio in the 5th. Darvish has not walked anybody. He struck out 6. This is now his deepest outing of the year. He had not gone beyond 5 innings in any of his first 4 starts. He's thrown as many as 83 pitches, and he's only at 61. He's been that efficient today. There's a good splitter by Darvish, and it's 1-2. Todd?
Yes.
Your memory is not as good as it used to be.
Uh-oh.
You hit .625 against Jake Peavy.
Oh, well, like I said, he was very good.
Grounded behind the first base bag. Rise will try and beat Nimmo and gets there a step ahead of him. 2 out. So how does Darvish do it? Well, lots of different speeds.
We talked about all the speeds, but such an extreme when you can have the 195 plus. He's right around 93, 94 with that fastball, but then the 80 to 89, 30 of those, and then 71 to 79, 8, and they're not just the speed, but it's not like a fastball changeup differential. It's a fastball with different angles on breaking balls as well. So you're seeing it released out of his hand, coming at you in different ways as well. So it's hard to pick up the speed and the break.
There's Vientos, who has one of the two-man hits today, and he takes a slow curveball for a strike. Mark single to center in the first, struck out in the fourth. And the Padres, if they have this version of Yu Darvish for the last 2 months, become that much more formidable. Their pitching already was solid. And with a healthy Yu Darvish pitching effectively, takes them to a whole nother level. They've been without Joe Musgrove all year with Tommy John surgery. Fastball into the knees for a strike, and it's 1-2. He's just able to throw any pitch for a strike anytime he wants.
And when he's doing that, it's just a really challenging at bat, like we keep talking about. And you can see guys taking pitches that are right down the middle. You can see guys swinging at pitches halfway to the plate. It's just a different kind of at bat when you go against a guy with all these different weapons.
So Ryan Stanek up in the Mets bullpen. And Vientos with a half swing. He went around strike 3. 7 strikeouts for Darvish, a season high. He's through 6 scoreless innings. Stanek is in the pitch with Manny Machado leading off for the Padres in the bottom of the 6th. And Stanek's first fastball in for a strike. Stanek last pitched in the opening game of this series. Worked a 1-2-3 8th inning. And throws one by Machado. 99 on that heater, and it's 0-2. Well, the Phillies and White Sox have finally gotten underway in Chicago after a 3-hour and 35-minute rain delay for the final game of that series. Taijuan Walker on the mound for the Phillies. Phillies a half game behind the Mets heading into play today. Teams have not been separated by more than 2 games at any point since the middle of June. Machado, Merrill, and Bogarts for the Padres in the 6th. And Manny hits one on the ground behind third. Long throw by Mauricio is right on target, 1 away. There's the NL East. The Marlins still hanging around 4 games under 500. Doesn't mean that they're not going to unload. Sandy Alcantara threw 5 scoreless innings yesterday. He's now thrown 14 straight scoreless innings. And you wonder, is somebody going to package enough together to pry Alcantara away from the Marlins?
That certainly may raise that trade value. I mean, he's been inconsistent this year, obviously coming back after a long absence because of the Tommy John. But he's a guy that, if he's right, the velocity's there. You see some signs of it. He's right, and you can get him turned around. He could be a big value.
I mean, there's so many questions about who decides to sell small and who decides to sell big. Like, you know, the Twins have already indicated that they're in sell mode, but would they sell Joe Ryan? That would be a prime starter prize. Swing and a miss as Static is throwing some serious gas, 1-2.
And to my point, Terrence, he takes a beating every time he's back there. Not even quite sure, just the foul ball that got him in a weird place in the glove. And now looks like his left hand took a little bit of a beating on that one. So it seems like, oh, it's in the big padded part of the glove, but it's not that's really the impact. It's, you saw that it jarred his arm, jammed his hand straight into his arm.
Taylor is there to grab it, 2 out.
And guys that throw really hard sinkers will do that occasionally to a catcher, where it's the impact and the heavy ball coming in, jamming your wrist towards your elbow. That one was a foul ball that did the same thing. You saw him immediately just drop the glove and have to kind of get that sense of feeling back in his wrist and forearm after something like that happens.
So it's not a bruise, it's more like a nerve thing?
Yes. It's more like if you were jammed a wall without full extension, it jams the wrist back towards your forearm. It's that jamming really more than the impact on your hand, because you're padded there, but the jamming is what really kind of makes it thump, and just takes a little bit of time to get the full senses back.
Xander Bogaerts has walked and singled today. 4 for 11 in this series. And takes the slider down. 2 balls and 1 strike. Reed Garrett worked an inning and a third in relief. And now Static with the first 2 outs in the 6th. 2-2 on Bogaerts. Clay Holmes went 3 2/3, allowed 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 of them earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 hit batsmen, a home run. And the Mets have lacked any response against Yu Darvish. Mets were held to 6 hits in the opening game of the series, 4 hits last night, and they have just 2 hits today. In at the knees, strike 3 called. Dominate. It's the inside corner, 0-1. Mets have had just 2 base runners through the first 6 innings, a single by Vientos in the first and a single by Mauricio in the 5th. In between, Darvish retired 13 in a row. He hasn't walked a batter. He struck out 7. If Darvish wins today, he will set a record of sorts. Rolled over to the right side, an easy play for a rise for the first out. If you combine Darvish's victories in the Japanese professional leagues and the major leagues, he has 203 wins, which ties him with Hideki Kuroda for the most combined wins between NPB and MLB. So if he wins today, he will be the all-time leader in combined wins between the Japanese and American major leagues for any Japanese pitcher. Alonso